Beautiful people, thank you so much again for joining us. I go by the name of Leroy, as you all know. I'm always with your host with the mostest, your boy.
It's Dupe Jesu, people at your service, as always. You get me? We have a special episode, people. Today, we want to talk about spirituality and what it means to us, basically, to a personal journey within spirituality. And we have a very special guest with us today. We have the lovely Sarah King with us. Sarah, could you say hi, please?
Hi, hello everybody.
And good people listening, the reason why we have Sarah here is because we've known each other, to see for many years, and she's obviously she's now found a path to spirituality, and I thought it'd be great to talk about because a lot of people kind of hear these terms and don't really know what it means, and we have right here for you guys that knows exactly what it means because she's on that path herself. Sarah.
Wow. It's been a very, very slow process. It's been probably for about now 7 years properly, but it's always been inside of me. It's just that I've chosen, to life ignore it, and I've gone into religion, and I've come out into spirituality. For me, is the path that I've decided I'm going to stay on.
Okay.
So.
Was there a catalyst that made you actually make that step? Was there something that actually, obviously, if it's too personal, we don't want to get too much into your business, but is there something you could share with us? What made you decide to go along these lines?
Yeah, I think from the age of 16, I was a little bit rebellious, and I probably got into the path, as most teenagers do.
Yes.
The rock and roll lifestyle, and I started, mixing with probably people that are not so great for me. I left home at 16.
Wow.
I moved to London from the countryside living.
Wow.
And, the lights of London, and, there you go. I was out and about mixing with a little bit of alcohol, a little bit of drugs, and got into an abusive relationship.
Wow.
Yeah. I think these are all the things that kind of, I had to go through build up the emotional trauma to work. And I think with spirituality, it's kind of taught me that you have to work through it. It's not just something that you step into. It's not an easy process. You really need to get dark and deep with yourself to, open up. But I've gone through religion, and I found, religion wasn't really helping me. I found it very constrictive. It wasn't necessarily, it put fear in me. And no one can go through fear. Yeah, I was a Seventh-day Adventist for quite some years. So I was going to church, and I was trying to, because after that I sat down, I had my children, and I was going to church, and I was doing what, I thought was a good thing, but I feel quite unhappy, and I saw quite a lot of unhappiness in there.
True.
So,
very true, yeah.
And when you fear, you're living a life of fear, and it was certain things like oppression. I felt oppression in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say, funny enough, Leroy, he was Seventh-day Adventist as well. You know that?
Right. No way.
Leroy?
Oh my God.
So I'm sitting here listening to you. When you say Seventh-day Adventist, I'm like, okay, somebody who understands where I do come from with it.
Oh, we love you, Seventh-day Adventists, though. We don't want to put them down, but yeah.
No. Do you know what's crazy? Is that there is actually a group on Facebook and on YouTube for former Seventh-day Adventists.
Wow.
Yeah. And
really?
yeah. I mean, my background is my mother is South African and my father is Malawian. And my father was Malawian. So Malawians are Muslims. So a lot of people wouldn't know this, but Malawians are Muslims. So my father grew up with a Muslim father and a Catholic mother.
Wow.
Yeah. And my mother grew up with two Seventh-day Adventist parents. So obviously, in turn, I became, what tends to happen is children tend to do what their mother does most. So if their mother goes to church, the children will do that. Because obviously growing up from about the age of 0 to 11, 12, you would do most things that your mom does.
Well, they're planting the seed, right?
So when you said restrictive, oppressive, this is how I felt. So at the age of 17, I also moved out, and I decided to move away from religion, Seventh-day Adventism. I decided to move away from it.
Yeah, okay.
And this is when I was 17. So I was having a discussion with my mother, and I was like, you know what? I felt like I was forced to go to church. My mom even went down the route. I don't know if you know this, but African moms, anything that you say that they don't like, they'll guilt trip you for the rest of your life. I've gone, I felt like I was forced to go to church here. Yada, she's gone the route of, oh, you've disappointed me. You've really hurt me. It was just words. Just to let you know, African mothers in general are extremely dramatic. Dupe is my witness on this one.
We love baby, don't worry.
But I was just saying, okay, 17, moved out of my mum's house, stopped going to church. Fast forward 10 years later, I went back into Seventh-day Adventism. Right, so I started going to church Saturdays, come Friday at 6 o'clock. So this is what Seventh-day Adventists do. It's like come Friday, sunset, everything stops. Your TV or whatever, everything stops. Then until the next day on Saturday, sunset, then you can resume whatever it is you resume. For some people who do it to the extreme, they switch off their phones, they switch off TVs.
You're not even allowed to catch a bus.
Nah,
What there is?
because you cannot pay for anything.
Yeah.
Wow. So Sarah, in your house, was it that strict? Was it?
Yeah. We cook on the Friday and prepare for the Sabbath, and so Saturday was food to eat, and we wouldn't wash the dishes. We'd all sit down to eat on the Sabbath, on the Saturday after church, and then it'd be a day of, if the TV was to go on, it would be full of hymns, and So
you see, that's kind of crazy. That's the reason why it's so important for us to talk about this spirituality thing. We're going to ask you now. So because with Seventh-day Adventists, I never even knew this. So imagine how much people don't know about spirituality. So Sarah, and it's because it's such a wide-ranging topic, such a wide-ranging thing. Because spirituality is the world, basically. So Sarah, what's your path? What kind of path of spirituality do you follow? What's your path you take?
Right. I mean, so just a little bit of background. My dad is English, and my mum, she's a mixture of Hungarian and Gypsy, which is Sinti. Right?
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've got two very conflicting parts there. But, yeah, so my mum's background, she was really, really spiritual. Like growing up, she was very, very spiritual, and we would have spooky things happen to us around the house sometimes. But we were never indoctrinated. So for me to even go to Seventh-day Adventists later in life, it was because some things happened on in my earlier life that made me question about life. Very, that just put a question mark. I couldn't answer some things, and I felt a little bit crazy to other people about it. But I knew an outer world existed, if that made sense.
Right, yeah.
And to put that into context, there was a spiritual world, and I found out very early on.
Okay.
And it's a conversation you don't really have with your friends.
Yeah.
So, but my mum, she was always very open and very honest with me, and I love that about my mum. But like I said, I grew up very conflicted about it, and I had a little bit of a breakdown and ended up in the church. I then obviously saw the oppression things, and I went to spirituality, and my mum, she drawed me back into it. When I was going through a really hard time and a little bit lost, my mum bought me some tarot cards and some angel cards and things like this, and she was saying, just do it because it will give you answers. And I was like, oh, okay, I will try anything at this point. I started to get answers from my tarot cards, and I don't know how it worked, but it just it was giving me answers that I needed. And I just started going into it, and I started reading into it a little bit more. And, the fundamentals of like spirituality is that you have to understand that your infinite consciousness, which is quite a hard thing for people to understand.
Very true.
I don't know if you've ever gone outside and you've sat under the sun, and at that moment you just feel peace through your body. And you felt one with the whole universe. Have you ever felt that? Or if you look at the moon and you're just like, oh my God, I just feel so connected at that moment in time with the universe.
I probably have at some point, but I'm not nowadays. I'm just not too busy.
And modern day life. The problem that we are disconnecting from, we are actually disconnecting from our spirituality in a way, because we've got smartphones, we're busy with life, and we don't take that time to be still.
Very true.
So spirituality is about grounding yourself and actually, going a little bit inwards, and you have to do this a lot. So one of the fundamental parts as well about spirituality is understanding that part of my healing process was to understand that I'm here having an experience in a body, in a body of a female, in a body of a white person who's a gypsy, Jewish, English ancestry, and that all the things I come across during that lifetime is something that I need to know and learn.
Okay.
So this is what I take from spirituality.
Well, one ask is that, within spirituality, there's different parts to it. Like, you got the Nordic, people that believe in some Nordic, spirituality. Some people believe in like Native American, you got African. There's so many different.
Yeah.
Are they kind of all connected in any shape or form, or can somebody kind of follow bits of one and bits of the other, or are they very separate, or are they connected?
So what you're asking, like, are we like to do rituals or like things with different traditions and beliefs and things, and how it connects us?
I'm saying about where you got the Nordic, obviously before when back in olden days, the Vikings or the Swedish people who believe in Odin and Thor, they'd never met an African in their life. Whereas an African person in Nigeria that believes in Shango, believe Ogun, they never met a Native American person. So all these different people in different parts of the world all kind of found their spiritual journey or their spiritual path. So now that the world is a smaller place and everybody's together, do people kind of try and connect a bit of the African with a bit of the Native American, with a bit of the Nordic? Is there like a kind of a movement of where people kind of take bits from all of them to make it their own path, basically?
I don't know. I think sometimes people go back to their roots, and I think it's basically to connect to a part of our inner selves. I think it's to confirm our human mystery almost, and the mutability. So we're all on this mundane path of life, and sometimes I think if we delve back into it, it just connects us and pulls us back, and just to remember where we come from, who we are. So I think sometimes we take little parts of this, we're trying to connect.
I'd say probably like we try to basically connect the dots the best way you know how. If the person finds a bit of this, bit of that, I guess it's up to them, because like that's one thing I think about. For me personally, with spirituality, I just think it's a personal journey between you and God. Different people think of God in different ways, and you could call God, if some people might think is a white dude with gray hair in the sky. That's what I'm saying. Or people can think it's God is the whole world. I think it's people's personal journey, but I just think it's a good journey, and it's a journey to enlightenment, and to, honestly, I just say it's a journey to being a good person, basically, on one certain level. Do you know what I'm saying? Just to do good things and beautiful things, and that's why I find spirituality a bit more
appealing.
So how do you define spirituality then? What's your definition?
It's obviously you got to believe in God for starters. For number one, you have to believe in a God. Well, like I said, so, and it's also a very personal thing as well, because people take God different ways, and it's your part to finding God and enlightenment, and finding that there's more to this world than meets the eye. There's more than just bricks and mortar. There's another realm beyond, or even there's another realm, and it's about literally taking it in, basically. It's about openness, basically, trying to be aware of that world and trying to find kind of connection to it, basically. So for a better way of explaining, that's right now.
So when you connect, it's like when you connect, a lot of people do it through prayer. Me, I go and ground myself in a natural environment. So, I go outside and I just literally just close my eyes or just walk in nature. I have to be in nature. And for me, that's my connection.
Some
people pray.
Yeah.
Some people, they sing, their voices, connection through God through singing, they literally sing their hearts.
In most African cultures, they'll dance, chant, light fires, dance around the fires, and there is an animal of some sort that's being sacrificed and stuff like that. This is obviously within different African cultures and what they regard as spirituality. I was going to say, sorry to cut you guys off, I was going to say, when you guys were talking of connection, to me, I've only experienced that connection twice. The first time was myself, second time was my mother. But I'll explain why I would say with myself. Even to this day, I've always brushed it off as, it is what it is. That's how I've always brushed off that experience. But I remember as a young kid, I used to be an athlete. I used to be like a good tennis player. I used to be a good 100 meters and a good 400 meters runner.
Right. Okay.
So I remember one time out of a school of 600, I must have been 13 or 14. All I heard, they did the whole on your marks, get set, and the starter gun went off. And I was running with people who were like in their 20s and stuff like that. So all these guys are in sixth form and stuff like that, 18-year-olds and big guys. This is back home.
Okay.
I must have run that race and won it. But But to this day, all I can remember was people jumping on me and some lifting me up by the time I got to the end.
Okay.
But what I remember of that was I felt the ground was moving with me.
Okay.
So I've always brushed off that experience as So I've always, the whole Mother Earth thing. So I've always kind of just brushed off that experience as do you know what? It's one of those one in a lifetime experiences that happen, things that happen. So with that, for me, that's the only time I remember. I remember it vividly, but I never remember running the 100 meters.
Wow.
But I can remember the ground. Yeah.
What it was like just a strong vibration through the earth.
So all and thinking about it now, my feet looked like the ground I was running on. So so literally I felt like the earth was moving with me. And the second one was when one of my younger sisters passed away. 3 days before, my mom felt it.
Okay.
Like, they say mothers feel things, but my mom felt in her gut.
Before it happened, you mean to say?
Yeah, before it happened.
Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so all day long she had around her stomach.
Right.
So so she felt that. So that's why I can say, I think, like you guys are saying, I think with spirituality, I think it's a whole different thing for everyone.
Yeah. Are you convinced by it though? Because you don't sound like you're really convinced.
But this is the thing. My whole thing was I've always brushed off that feeling when I won that 100 meters race with people that I shouldn't have even raced with, but I forced myself into that race. I snagged myself into that race somehow. So it's always been that, you know what, it's a fluke. I've always put it down to, you know what, everyone does it.
No, but then you speak to artists, like music artists, and they always say before they I don't know, like they describe going on show or performing or doing something or going into a boxing ring or something, and they just feel like a different type of energy. It's not their own. They feel like this almost different type of energy. I mean, for example, Beyonce, she uses a different persona.
On stage,
that persona, you know? So people on sports fields and things, it can happen.
Yeah, I do believe that it can happen, but my whole thing, I think you just decoded me.
What's that? Decoded?
Yeah, you just decoded me because you just said I don't sound like a believer. Do you know why I probably don't sound like I believe it?
Yeah.
I feel like I should have been an athlete. Like my career, I feel like my career should have been off the Usain Bolt and more Pharaohs, if you will.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't believe it. I don't deep down. I do believe the whole spirituality. I don't believe in religion and all that stuff personally, anyway.
But that's the thing. A lot of us, we don't stay tapped into our inner power, and none of us are different. None of us have got these super powers or anything. We're all pretty much the same. But the thing is, some people are more tuned in than others, and they follow. So super manifestors, for example. Tap into energy, everybody's now manifest, and so spirituality is led down this road of manifestation. And and some people are really able to manifest, they really get it. And it's only they're tapped in. So that experience at that point in time, if you had gotten that message that this is a line, you could have gone with that. Do you know what I mean? But you've chosen to ignore it and cut it off and disbelieved in yourself to that.
And you was partying, doing party boy stuff, so that's why.
But
basically, you know what I mean.
But then you see now you see my disconnect with religion. That's where my disconnect with religion started.
Or disconnect with yourself, we would say.
I wouldn't. Do you know what? I wouldn't say with partially with myself. Yes, I must agree. But with religion, because I couldn't compete on Saturdays.
Okay.
So the only sport event my mother has ever come to was a tennis match where I was playing these kids that had when I say all the equipment, I had to borrow my racket. I had to wear my uncle's shoes. Luckily, we were the same size at the time. And then she went and bought me some. For those who know, you probably know this as well, Sarah. Then she bought me some green flashes.
Them things are trendy now, though. Green flashes are trendy now. You know what I mean? But in them days, they were not cool. When we were young, green flash. You didn't want to. I had green flashes as well. Trust me. I tried when my mom bought green flashes. I was like, Mom, I'm going to get laughed at. God.
So yeah, maybe a disconnect with myself and the spirituality, and also like my disconnect with religion started quite early for me, because I was always, as anybody else, as any of the two of you here, I was always a rebellious child. I was one of those kids that I was just a street kid. Like I would hang with the drug dealers, the people that you would not want to hang with. At 12 years old, these guys would never want me to go through that path. They would literally just tell me, listen, they'll put money in my pockets. Go away, go and call that girl for me. I'll give you some money. Run and go and get the girl. She'll come. They'll give me some money. Give me some money. Go and get some cigarettes for me. Run and get some cigarettes. Come back. Whatever else. So I was that type of kid, which didn't. Obviously, my mom wasn't. My mom is a liberal human being. Probably on the smallest of things. Not with that.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's why maybe with I don't know. It's like
and that's the thing with religion. And I mean, I've seen most kids, my kids, I've got teenage girls now, and they're within church.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but the majority of kids that grew up in church, they feel oppressed, and then they run to the baddest thing with anything going to. It's like, hello, I want to taste some of that. And I find that quite a lot with people that go to church. I'm not saying all, just an opinion, but yeah, I think the oppression, it kind of makes you curious about the other side, because we're taught that it's evil, and the streets will indoctrinate your kids, and you've got to keep them next to you, and you've got to put them in church, you've got to do it like this. And that's why the spiritual route for myself, it gave me freedom of thought. I can think freely. I know that I'm going to make them, but you know what? I know that I'm going to learn wholeheartedly from them, because that's my biggest teacher, is my mistake. Whereas church, it teaches you it's wrong. It's not, it's not good. Come to church and pray more. If you're wrong, tithe more. Give more money. And I'm like, well,
give us more money. And if you get pregnant out of a wedlock, they'll do something called censuring.
What's that?
Oh, listen to this now. So censuring happens to a woman or a man or a boy or girl that gets pregnant out of wedlock. The whole church sits in there, 200-300 of you sitting there. They say they'll vote on it while you were there, mind you.
Wow. Okay.
While you are there, they'll vote on it. They'll say, yeah, this person is kicking out of church. Basically, they don't kick you out of the church, but what they will do is, you cannot be part of any duties. You cannot lead any duties. You cannot lead the choir. You cannot do this. You cannot do that for a whole year.
They're putting you on the naughty step, basically.
That really is.
And they tried that with me. I was just like, sorry, who are you talking to? I was like, you've come through to the right one, because I don't take that nonsense. Because like, why? What is wrong with your head?
You know what I mean?
But it's one.
One thing because I got quite into my Bible, to be honest. When I go into something, I go in like full steam ahead. And so there was things I took to the pastor and I questioned him about. I mean, mainly one about covering your head whilst praying.
Oh God, yeah.
But there is a specific part that says, you should cover your head and your hair, when praying. And so when I took it to him and he said, it was written in that, in an earlier age, and it shouldn't all be taken literally. And I was like, wow. And so it always kept coming to my head, and this kept repeating in my head.
I was just gonna say, because funny enough, Sarah, you asked a question about when you said about how anyone ever connected, like ever said sometimes when you sit down in nature and that kind of stuff. As we were talking about it, because I've never really noticed anything while I was awake, but I've told one of my best friends this, Ozzy. You know what I'm saying? Big Ozzy, I talk all the time. There was a time I was sleeping, and it was like above me there was literally like a cloud, and it was like a rolling cloud, and it was literally like, it was quite vivid. I don't want to say anything about it. It was very potent cloud above me, and it was like, some people would see that you'd be scared, because it looked quite stormy and it looked quite aggressive, and it was literally above me, and it kind of spoke to me. And I'm not going to say that, but I think that was our little secret of what was to me. I'm saying I'm not going to broadcast it to the world, what was said to me, but someone would see that cloud, and normally you'd see that and it looks very, very frightening, like a very dark cloud. For some reason I did not feel intimidated. I felt very at peace with it, and it was actually reassuring words that came from the cloud. And I'm saying it was quite protective as well. So maybe that was somebody reaching out from, family, past family, like somebody, I'm saying, maybe someone that's on the other side, letting you know that you're going to be good. But yeah, it was the most vivid things. And the next day I was like, wow. When I woke up, I was like, I'm saying, that was one hell of a dream.
I can't similar experience myself, and this was my biggest from
Yeah.
religion into spirituality. This was kind of the
Okay.
precursor to that. And so,
Right.
like you, I was in a dream,
Mm.
as what I thought. And I remember distinctly walking towards a church, and there was 3 women doing tarot cards in there. And for me, that was sinful at that time, because I was
Yeah.
going to church, and I thought it's terrible. Like, that's not right. And so I ran out of there, and they were chasing after me, and there was a non-human figure. It wasn't a man, sorry, a female figure. It was a figure, just a figure. It was
Yeah. Okay.
it
Yeah.
wasn't a male
Yeah.
and a female, just a figure of a person, person, very, very tall. And they literally
Mm-hmm.
were standing there. I run up to it, and it's pointed to the sky, and with the biggest amazing flash of light, it just
Wow.
went up into the sky. And with that flash, my whole bedroom just lit up as I woke up. And
Yeah.
like you, I didn't
Yeah.
know what the hell it was, but I woke up feeling
And protect. Yeah.
elated. I had like a surreal feeling,
Yeah.
like I was floating around with so much love and joy, and I couldn't describe it as a really, really nice feeling. I couldn't, and for me that was
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
like a message.
Yeah. I woke up feeling very protected. That's how I felt protected. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Similar.
And I have quite a lot of dreams, and as I've come to realize that if you're quite connected, you can, get messages through dreams. You can get
Yeah.
symbolism.
Okay.
You've got your common dreams, which like your teeth falling out,
Oh
and
my
you're running
God.
up the stairs, and
Oh my God.
your
Teeth falling
unconscious
out.
mind and your fears comes
Wow.
out in your dreams. But if you
Regularly. Wow. What does that mean? What does that mean? Please tell me. What does that mean? Teeth falling
what's
out.
that?
Yeah, but let's talk now. Well, please just tell me. The teeth falling out. What does that mean? Because I get that dream a lot. What does that
Oh
mean?
gosh. Well, I couldn't tell you the exact meaning, but it's a fearful dream. So fearful dreams are related to your unconscious mind, but you can always Google it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Not a Carl Jung of a dream analysis, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a common dream. It's a common dream.
Very common. Yeah.
Yeah, but symbolism is ones that you can perhaps predict things. So if you dream with animals, or you dream with numbers or colors, you
Okay.
can actually use them for the prediction. They're quite handy if you get to know. Yeah.
Okay. Before you came back, we were just talking about because you guys talking about these dreams. Yeah, I guess those are connections, because I had weird dreams. Like one of our friends, his nearest dad, when he passed away, before he passed away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to
Yeah.
tell him, but I had a weird dream that he was there, because my dad passed away as well. So I had a weird dream that his nearest dad was sitting with my dad. Yeah, they were sitting on this porch in the middle of nowhere.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is 2 days or a day before Jamila's dad passed, yeah. So they were
Okay.
sitting in the middle of nowhere. So I then turn up, and my dad was like, "Nah, come on, man, let's leave him there, man. He's not ready to come with us. Let's leave him. Just leave him there. Let's go, let's go, let's go."
Mm-hmm.
So next thing is, a day or two later, this guy calls me, says, "Yo, my dad has passed away." Round about this time, actually, he says that my dad has passed away. So I was like, sorry, whatever. I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to say, "Yo, dude, I had a weird dream that your dad and my dad were sitting on a porch." And the weird thing, dreams are so freaking weird, Jem. This house on the porch in the middle of nowhere was moving.
Wow. Bloody hell.
So
Okay.
I turned up, the house was moving slowly. Yeah, I turned up and the house is moving slowly. So my dad stands up and sees it's me. He's like, "Come on, let's leave him. Let's leave him here. He's not ready. Let's leave him. Let's leave him." So he doesn't even, he looks at me, just glances at me. He's like, "Let's leave him." And he turns away, sits down, he ignores me. So I try to call him, just ignores me. The house just goes.
Okay.
And the second one was about this here guy called Dupe.
Dupe.
Seriously, this one is crazy.
Yeah.
Saturday or Sunday morning, I do not call this guy anytime before 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
11, I call him. I keep calling him. I was like, "Yo, Playboy, call me." I keep calling him because I'm trying to find out he's okay. I dreamt the night before, this guy had blood on him. We didn't know whether it was his blood or someone's blood, but he was just saying, "Oh man, man." But he had blood everywhere. So I couldn't tell whether it was his blood or him. But something in my head was like, call this guy. And I called him. Do you care to just continue from there? Because I called him, and what happened the night before.
So basically, he calls me in the morning, and I'm like, "Yo, Leroy, you're not going to believe what happened last night. I come out the club with one of my friends. I see a guy I know outside the club. I'm talking to him, and as soon as I say goodbye to the guy, he's a bit of a street dude. He's about that life. He's a roadman.
Yeah.
So we're coming out the club. I know him. Hi. Me and my friend are leaving to go home, and then we're walking past. As me and my friend are walking, a guy bumps past me, like walking towards the guy I was just talking to. But the energy of the guy that bumped past me was like a negative energy. But I'd been out drinking, I'm going home. I just kind of, for a second, I was like, what the hell is this guy doing? I didn't think much of it. My friend kept on walking to get our cab. And I hear commotion behind me. And then me and my boy, we turn around. And I'm saying to my boy, like, yo, why are they hitting? So the guy I was just talking to was getting beaten up by 3 guys.
So you thought.
And then, so I'm saying to my guy that, yo, why are they hitting them? And my friend goes, no, bro, Dupe, they're not hitting him. They're stabbing him. And 3 guys were literally stabbing this guy constantly, like boom, 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 boom. Like he must have got about 30 stab wounds because 3 of them, 10 each at least. And so basically police, everything, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, so that's what, and he had that dream that night.
That's mad.
Yeah.
And you said you're not connected.
Yeah.
Wow.
But do you know what it is? Yeah, sometimes, like I said to you, it's denial. Because like I said, you've just decoded me. My denial began from when I was wanting to go to tournaments. Instead of going to tournaments, I was told to go to church.
Yeah, I'm saying. Yeah. And I'd even kill this, make the story even worse. Our other friend, Ozzy, he had a dream about me about a week before, and he rang me as well. And it was something similar about me being in danger. Literally. So we then, Ozzy calling me about the same thing and him calling me the day after it happened or the day it happened. I just got a warning. Literally, so my 2 best friends are literally like, dude, something is up. Ozzy literally called me a week or so before, even not a few days before, saying, I had a crit with you in it and it wasn't good. Same way he had a dream that night calling me Dupe. What? Yeah, I'm saying, so it was really, really weird, really strange. You know what I mean? But yeah, everything happens for a reason.
So for me, that kind of, I would never be ordained. I think we have freedom of choice and the direction our life goes because we have freedom of choice. But energy is very real. Energy is so real. Like, it's almost like it builds up in the air, and some situations it can be foretold. My granddad, he had a very good gift for doing this. I never got to meet him, but apparently he could predict things, and it's always amazed me how people can have that kind of superhuman power. And I believe we do have superhuman powers in a way. Life is away from it, the busyness of life, mobile phones, going to work every day. We don't ever take time out to actually rest our minds. And when we sleep, that's exactly what we're doing. And so these dreams, they manifest in so many different ways to the point that you can predict the future in some way. Maybe a bit late for others,
true.
But yeah.
Very, very true.
As we always say, hopefully we've opened their third eye.
Very true.
Third eye, can we just end that and saying, like, we with faith, if we have to question, if your faith leaves you feeling fearing or less than or powerless, or if it makes you feel better than anybody else, I would say that you're not really going to get spiritual growth from that. We need to start embracing gratitude and forgiveness. We got to dissolve the illusion of our self-ego.
Very true.
You might start feeling happy because that's what we all want, is happiness.
Facts. And God,
peace.
I think that's the outro right there. We couldn't have said that any
better. We usually have an outro, but we're living it.
That was the mic drop.
We're living that right there.
You can answer that.
That was a mic drop. Yeah. So people, Sarah, thank you so much. It was really insightful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
God?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us, and we hope to work with each other in the future. Like, definitely. This was for me anyway. This was an eye-opening, somewhat decoding episode.
I was so nervous in the beginning. I kind of flustered myself.
Listen. If you go back to our first episode,
we weren't that bad. All right, people. Blessed be. All right, one.
Thank you, people. Thanks for listening.